Well, hello.
Hey, Andy Garfield, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Patrick Kling. How are you?
Oh, living the dream. Living the dream. It's actually like our 2-year anniversary of TV. I believe we launched around November 1st-ish of 2020.
Yeah, it's true. I think you're right. I hadn't even thought about that until you mentioned it just now.
And we still have COVID in the news.
Yeah, we do. With thanks to China's zero tolerance COVID policy, Universal Beijing and Shanghai Disney have closed once again, with Shanghai Disney closing with guests still inside. And you couldn't leave until you got a negative COVID test. No word on what would happen if you didn't get a negative COVID test, if you live indefinitely at Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, sleeping on the floor at Tron.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. That's tough. That's tough. Well, we bid the country the best and as they try to maintain and get things under control. So actually, similarly, the Disney cruise are dropping all guidelines as of November 14th. So there's no more
And
vaccine or testing needed to get on the ship.
I saw Warner Brothers World Abu Dhabi's Instagram story this morning as well, that they're dropping all restrictions for entry. No masks, no tests, no checking vaccinations even. It's just, come on in.
Yeah, no, there you go. No, so it's an evolving story. More and more.
Chuck?
Hey, Chuck, how you doing, man?
And Damien. Damien always watches the show. We can always count on Damien.
Always count to watch on the show. So speaking of show, we do, before we step into the next news item, we have Mel and Monet who are here to talk about IAAPA. So we're excited to get into that. But there's other exciting theme park news that happened this week. There were previews, and now Fantasmic is back in Florida. It's been back in California for a while. This is the new version where they did a sensitivity, wanted to make sure that they weren't, doing odd things. So a whole inclusion. What do they call it? They call it a there's some name they've been calling it. A reimagined Fantasmic. So I haven't seen it. I have been keeping track of the Twitter traffic or Twitter chatter, and people are saying it's pretty good. It was a pretty good job with the redo. So I'm seeing it in a couple of weeks, probably with Monet and my son and Kia, which is exciting. And so looking forward to seeing that reboot. But congrats to the whole team. Just glad to have nighttime entertainment back. It's interesting with that. There's still some things that are not reopened at Disney World. And I think the question is, will they reopen? Little Mermaid, the stands is not being, that's still in a jar. It has not reopened quite yet.
The Little Mermaid Dark Ride's not open?
The Hollywood Studio show.
Oh, that one. Okay.
That's probably the most substantial thing I can think of that has not reopened, and I'm not sure, who knows if it will return. But I think the Fantasmic was a pretty big thing that just wasn't there. So excited to see that come back. Any other theme park news that's notable? I'm sure there's a ton. Really, the biggest news for industry folks is that the mad dash to IAAPA. People are heading out here starting this week to get set up. There's going to be a lot of flurry going on to Orlando. Excited to do that. So why don't, without any further ado, we can bring out our guest.
Oh yeah, the Blue Loop 50 top 50 themed entertainment influencers as well, including your friend of mine, Chuck Fawcett.
Yeah, that's true. That list came out. How you doing, Mel?
Hey, good to be with you guys.
Monet, how's it going?
Always great. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for coming on the show and chatting about IAAPLs.
Yeah, really, it's great to have different perspectives. This is we have some really great guys. First off, Mel, it's just great to always work with and have on and all that, which is exciting. It was fun talking about that the place or the story living. That discussion of urban planning was great a few months ago. And then Monet from Big Break Foundation, great to have you here. But do you two want to just give yourselves an introduction? No, I won't butcher it. I'll just let you introduce yourselves. Go ahead, Mel.
Oh, sure. Well, it's been fun since I think we last chatted. Patrick, you and I have gotten to have some fun hang time and playing in the sandbox together, and everything from the sands of Saudi Arabia to wherever else in the world we're collaborating on. But so that's been a real privilege to get to see your multitudinous motley group of talents there. But yeah, I'm one of the first in, probably last out of Storyland Studios. So we have grown to 100 plus team. A good chunk of us will be at IAAPA next week. So come by and say hi. But we continue to imagine, design, and create stories that lift the spirit. So we're just having fun.
Great, thanks, Mel. Yeah, I mean that was an undersell of all the things you do, but that's great. 20 years, 21 years, right?
Yep, 20. We celebrate 20 years last year, and so that's old news. Now we can legally drink.
Well, if you can drink as a studio now.
Yeah, there you go, and we will. I think we've got a few happy hours at our booth. So,
and then Monet, welcome back, Monet.
Welcome, welcome. I think everybody knows me by now, but for those who don't, I'm Monet, Executive Director of Big Break Foundation. We exist to break down barriers and location-based experiences so everyone has the opportunity to find their big break moment. So I have a lot of exciting things to share with you all about IAAPA, but just love being on TETV.
I appreciate that. Well, why don't we get things started? You know, we're really excited to have you both on. Well, one thing what's great is that, you know, Monet, you know, your team is helping to shepherd a lot of people's first times at IAAPA as attendees, and then Mel, you've been a lot of times, but this is your first time coming on as a you know, exhibiting on the show floor, which is really exciting for companies when they do that. But first off, you know, what is IAAPA? You know, it's kind of an interesting thing, you know, from the 3,000, you know, foot view. I'll toss it. Andy, do you want to start by describing it, and then we'll go around robin and talk about, you know, what it means to you and all that kind of good stuff.
Sure. I mean, IAAPA, I always tell, you know, people new to the industry, is just like IAAPA is the absolute must attend event of the year for themed entertainment and themed experiences. It's where everybody from all over the world gets together and you know, catches up and does new business and exhibits their wares, you know, if they have a new product or technology or something like that. And, you know, it's a really great way to sort of like check the temperature and the pulse of the industry as well. You know, it's a great way to meet connections. And if you're looking for a job, and, you know, even if you're a freelancer like me, you know, just sort of, you know, remind people that you exist and that kind of stuff. And it's all very exciting and a lot of fun, especially if you are actually attending the conferences, and there's a lot of really great panels and things like that. I know that Monet is doing a panel this year, I think. And yeah, it's a really exciting time. And me personally, I mean, I find most of the value of going to IAAPA is going to all the hosted parties by the different organizations and companies that occur, you know, Monday through Thursday, essentially every night, all night sometimes. And you know, it's a great place to just, you know, see your friends and make new friends.
That's great. Love the friends. Over to Monet. What does IAAPA mean to you?
Well, I tried to describe it to people who aren't in the industry. It is essentially the Super Bowl of our industry. Everything comes together in this one moment, whether you're a first time attendee wanting to learn more and immerse yourself more in the industry, or you're a veteran and you're trying to display your products or your brand, or just meeting up with cool folks in the industry. It's a gamut for everybody. So I'm looking forward to seeing old faces and meeting some new friends.
Love it. And Mel, what does IAAPA mean to you? Or what is IAAPA?
Well, you know, I always try to either lower / set expectations, especially for first time clients, whether they're IP holders, creatives, real estate developers, by calling it the world's premier Carney Con convention, and just kind of, I think, set them up for this sense of scale and wow, and you know, kind of some of the fun and cheese factor that you experience when you first walk in the expo, but then what it really means to me beyond that noise and that spectacle is, like we were saying, it's friendships, it's relationships, it's kind of this amazing family reunion with this industry that has, a couple of different niches, but you mentioned some of those evening parties, some of the events. There's always kind of almost a storytellers gathering with the creative consultants, which will be in that mix this year, where it becomes kind of more the design creative community is kind of got our little nook in a small corner of that massive hall. But it's like I said, it's a high school reunion / whatever. I've been going for almost 2 decades now, so I'm feeling old and tired before the week's even started. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, definitely. I know we had three great answers, but if you, for those of you that have been in the industry for mid-career, like a few of us here on the panel, like you just see all these people that you especially during COVID, we haven't seen in such a long time, and so it is really great to kind of see, oh yeah, I these are all my friends and people and colleagues, and they're great people. Over Zoom, there's been so many different people we work with over the years, even before COVID. And so it's great to be able to see face-to-face time and all that. And, it kind of gets me to think, you just said, Mel, you've been going to IAAPA for, we'll say 2 decades. Love to hear everybody's first time at IAAPA. What year was the first time you attended? And, what was that experience like? And why don't we start with Mel this time, and then we'll work around again to Monet and then Andy and then myself.
Yeah, sure. I'll go. Yeah, I hadn't, during the 90s, the decade I spent at Disney, I actually hadn't had a chance to go to IAAPA. And it's, it's really easy, especially when you're at Disney, to kind of think you're in your own little universe or world. And again, to just get exposed to the scope and scale of the industry. And again, not I kid around when I talk about the carnival side, but just the scope and scale, the international scale, the diversity, the different types of entrepreneurs and companies, large and small, represented, just really kind of so eye-opening, enlightening, kind of paradigm shifting, brain busting. And it kind of reminds me of, things like going to China or the Middle East for the first time. Just whatever your expectation was, it completely blows that out of the water.
Monet, how about you? First time at IAAPA.
Well, I was significantly underprepared. My first time, I went with Give Kids the World, and they were like, oh, there's an expo, and we're partnered with IAAPA, and you're going to bring characters out for the opening ceremony. And they're going to join on stage with President Pam Landworth. And watching the ceremony was just wow, spectacular in itself. But then going onto the expo floor for the first time was just exciting yet overwhelming. And I'm so looking forward to seeing it back in its full glory after COVID and international restrictions being let up.
Yeah, I think the show floor is the biggest shock, I think, for first timers. It is vast. It contains multitudes, and I think that it is. It never gets old for me. And I think I went to the first time went to IAAPA was when it was in Vegas, so 2009. I think we decided that's when that was. So I didn't look it up, but so that was 13 years ago, and I've gone almost every year except for last year. So. Yeah, I mean, so advice on attending IAAPA for the first time, I think is to, just, network and, just be prepared for anything, because, you start to hear about, people start to invite you to the parties and events and things like that. And, that could be exciting. And, you just sort of get pulled from one booth to another by people that want to talk to you and stuff. It's all a lot of fun, just, be open to conversations and experiences.
That's great. Yeah, actually it's funny. My first IAAPA was Las Vegas as well, Andy. So that was right when I was graduating college, and my friend Keith Rector, he was Keith, probably Andy, you for sure, for SIPSAR and all that, but he was kind of wrangling the Legends panel that year, which had a bunch of, Bob Rogers that's when Bob Rogers, well, he still does it. And then the BRC party, which is was the only party I went to, was in the wedding, like the drive-through wedding chapel in Vegas. And so it's pretty fun, pretty spectacular. Now it's been settled here in Orlando. I think the biggest wide opening thing for people who may, as a student, be going here for the first time, or a young professional, or somebody new to the industry, is just, everybody hears about Universal and Disney, and they may think that that's who makes everything happen, but really it's all these companies. Like, you walk out and you're going to see companies that have worked for Disney and Universal. The moment you walk on the show floor, you're going to see them. You're going to see their ride vehicles, their coasters, all sorts of great stuff. So it really is. It just shows you that all these companies need people. All these companies can potentially hire you, right, for internships, and to really, really keep your eye open. And while getting a dream internship at Walt Disney Imagineering or Universal Creative is amazing, and it's a great opportunity. There's also a lot you can learn working at other companies, and then you may end up working for both, or for several, all at the same time when you do that. Sorry, Andy, I'll throw it back to you for the next topic.
Well, no, I mean, I mentioned like all the events at IAAPA, of course, at the show floor, which is, a smorgasbord of companies and vendors and everybody like that. But, I mentioned all the parties in the evenings and the events. There's the TEA Mixer Discovery Cove, and then there's the TEA member meeting. But of course, on Monday, there's the Slice Creative Network Mixer that I think a lot of people are going to go to at 5:00 on Monday. And then, of course, we're having our very own TETV Mixer on Tuesday, November 15th, at 6:30 at Howl at the Moon. And, everyone is welcome to that. It's free admission. Unfortunately, we don't have the deep pockets for a host bar like a lot of other companies and parties have. But come and drink with us and sing with us, and we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, How the Moon's doing piano bar. It's a lot of fun, very casual. And then they're giving us, just drop your name at the door. They're giving us free entry, I think until about 9:30. So you can sign up for details. Just go to our social channels, or maybe we can drop them in the comments. But sign up. It's already a pretty big crowd that's signed up to go. We're going to swarm in on the in venue, and we know there's parties that are happening before, after, during. Just come whenever you want. But we'll most likely be there. We'll keep tweeting from the account, or we'll keep doing Instagram stories, so you'll know, hey, should I come over to see some people? And you can see us as the catch-all, and we'll go probably till pretty late in the nighttime. Just a great opportunity.
Yeah, if it's 10:00 and you're wrapping up another party and you're thinking like, I wonder if the TETV party is still going, the answer is yes.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. At least Patrick and I will be there. We'll just be there. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. No, exactly. So, Monet, you brought this up, and I think you're pretty well connected, which is really great. Is Big Break Foundation has a really strong partnership with IAAPA, and there's a little bit of a changing of the guard. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So earlier this year, Hal announced his retirement. And so last week they announced Jacob Wall as the new president of IAAPA. So looking forward to that, and just his direction. He's been with IAAPA for so long already. So he's very familiar with the industry and has had several roles within IAAPA, serving on committees before he became a part of the IAAPA team. So happy, congratulations, Jacob, and looking forward to forming an even stronger partnership.
No, great. Well, we welcome with open arms the new management, and I'm sure it's going to be a great transition and all that. Well, so now IAAPA is full of booths, and you both have booths, which is exciting. So Mel, this being your first time exhibiting, you want to share us love to just hear what was IAAPA to you before, if you don't mind sharing maybe why you didn't have a booth. Now, why do you have a booth? Love to hear as much as you would like to share about that. And then what are the cool things happening that people can swing by and participate with?
Sure. Yeah. I'll just be honest. I've always been kind of allergic to the idea of standing at a booth or having a booth, or we've been blessed to have more clients and fun and work than we've known what to do with during our first 2 decades. And I think, I have a new partner in Sir Ben Thompson, head of our international practice and chief strategy guy. And he just felt like it was time to kind of come on out of the closet and quit trying to be the cool kid and, with the bouncer at the door, trying to work with us and to just, let the story be told. And so it's an experiment, we'll see. But like I said, for us, it's a good opportunity to get a few more of our crew out there than usually is, kind of planned. We've got, man, it's a crazy intense calendar. I know I'm presenting twice. I think they're doing this new abbreviated presentation format on the floor, which I'm excited about. We've got a couple of big press announcements. And then I know we're doing a fun little just giveaway. If you come by the booth, I think we're auctioning off a Disney VIP tour with me and an actual VIP tour guide on Thursday. So we're looking forward to having lots of fun. And then while we're there, I started a couple years ago an international prayer breakfast gathering Thursday mornings, and so that's something we'll be continuing on. And having a good buddy of mine, Anthony Esparza, a former chief creative officer at SeaWorld, and Hershin, kind of sharing his story Thursday morning. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun week.
I'm curious, as an owner exhibitor, like what are your goals for your booth and your presence at the show this year?
Yeah, the scope and scale, the types of projects we take on, typically they're not the kind of stuff you're selling at a expo hall booth. We've actually found that it's just a really helpful place to actually have on the floor kind of conference room, meeting room. We've gotten past the point of doing our unofficial casual meetings around the Themed Entertainment Association booth. Kind of worn out our high chair out there. So again, we're just renting an Airstream trailer to do a couple of internal meetings with clients. We've got probably at least a half a dozen large scale theme park plus scale projects going on with different clients. So we actually have some pretty intense meetings scheduled, but certainly I think a big focus this year for us is actually just getting to know kind of the next generation of storytellers and new talent, and having a place for those that want to get to know us better, meet not only myself but my partners and some of our senior creatives, to just kind of get to know a little bit more of the DNA culture, stuff that you can't just see on a website or even sometimes in a Zoom, to just kind of be face to face with a critical mass of our Storylanders. We're pretty proud of a culture that we've tried to really curate over the last 20 years, one that we kind of really modeled after the old magic of the WED Enterprises, MAPO kind of days. And, it seems, harder to find in the world these days. So we're just trying to have a place that people can literally, taste that culture, I guess.
That's great. So what can people do to kind of stay up to date on a happy hour or whatever way they can participate in saying hello?
Well, swing by the booth, and I'm sure someone there will have all the details. And I totally
work here,
because I should have all that info. I can tell you that my themedattraction.com podcast co-host Skipper Freddie is one of our key ringleaders. So he's going to kill me, but I'll send you his way, Freddie at storylandstudios.com. And I'm sure he can get you all the details on all the fun giveaways and happy hours and fun events we've got going on. So yeah, he's kind of the ringleader. I'm just following orders.
That's great. Well, and then I love this. So we have a rendering. Is this did it get pretty close to this, Trevor, on the next slide, or whatever back would be?
Yeah, no, I think what you're looking at was one of our first sketches. So we'll see where the budget, scope, and schedule landed. But I always love showing that first blue sky sketch from our very own Johnny Davis, one of our senior creative directors, just over a phone call, and we'll see what it actually comes out to be when we're there.
Oh, great. Right. Managing expectations. That's great.
I'm looking forward to seeing it and perhaps entering the holiest of holies in the Airstream trailer.
Right. Let's get the Shekinah glow. Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant.
Well, and then over to Monet. Big Break Foundation. Big Break Foundation is exhibiting year 2. What's happening with y'all this year?
So, similar program for our booth. This is our second year exhibiting, and we're still some of the new kids on the block, starting to get traction. So, just making sure everybody knows who we are and how we serve this industry, and how people can support us and then give back to the industry at whole. But very excited to share what our brand is and who we are. But most importantly, one of the programs that we started last year and we were able to bring back this year was our Edutainment Pass program, where we sponsored 50 recent graduates and or students to attend IAAPA. And this year we have quite a diverse bunch. Some individuals traveling all the way from Costa Rica, where they don't have a huge themed entertainment or location-based experience presence. And then just super excited to be able to put together schedules for them, assist with tours so that things aren't overwhelming during their first IAAPA experience. And then, as you teased, Patrick, many of these individuals, their exposure to this industry is Disney and Universal. And from our program last year, several of our participants who aspired to work for Imagineering and Universal Creative had no idea the vendors and suppliers that support these incredible organizations and companies, and that there are places for them there. And I'm happy to say several of our emerging professionals that we sponsored last year now have jobs in the industry or have pivoted with a better understanding of what this industry has to offer. So continuing that, we have a whole batch of new recruits. And so one thing I'm really excited about for this climate right now, in the way that the industry needs new talent and the next generation to be involved in that. So many exhibitors have been saying that they're looking for recruits. So definitely stop by our booth. There are opportunities to volunteer with us as we want to make sure that there's intimate settings for our participants to be able to talk with established professionals within this industry. We're asking for individuals to give an hour of their time. We have set times, and you can reach out to me to chat with them. There's going to be about 20 to 30 at each individual session, but that was one of the most beneficial opportunities, a part of our program last year, where they got to hear about the executives and the established professionals, their big break and the pivots and the journey that they had within this industry, and then giving advice and answering questions on how they can find their big break. So really excited to see that. But one of the things that we are kind of launching with IAAPA, I'm very excited about. We've been working behind the scenes. Nicole Figueroa Rosado, our education manager, has put together our IDEA program. And initially we wanted to put together an education series program where we can partner with companies and organizations to move the needle to be a safer, more inclusive, more equitable space. And we found that a lot of companies didn't know where to start, even if they understood that this was not only good for business, but also the right thing to do. So we've really shifted that from a webinar to more of a partnership where we assess your organization, then we come in and educate you so everybody has a foundation and a starting point to grow with together. And then we strategize and then partner with you for a year and then expand that partnership based off your needs. So we'll be meeting with companies. If you're interested, we still have availability to meet with you and see if it's a good partnership fit to come in and work with your organization. So we're super excited to start sharing more about our IDEA program and getting more organizations partnered with us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty great opportunity, and I'll just kind of speak for Chuck Fawcett and myself, who started Big Break Foundation, is that, you know, what do companies do, when they first start off and want to make a change, to try to make a difference or to try to become a more inclusive space. And that includes everything, accessibility, having a diverse, all voices at the table, and making sure we're creating inclusive experiences for people. And very important, but where do you even start, right? So this is 2 years in the making. I know it's been test piloted at a few different places, and from a company that had 140 people to more of a boutique company that had 30 or so people. So it's a very thoughtful approach, all very, scientific and data driven. It's always the no guilt trip thing. This is data driven, and this is how you can create more inclusive space for your employees. And it runs all over the map. So highly recommend chatting time with Monet. Monet will talk with you at any time, but if you'd like to have FaceTime with Monet to chat about the IDEA program, we're really excited about it. We're booking people throughout the year, and it's already been really successful, and I think making real impactful change, even just a little bit. And that's what it starts, brick by brick.
Exactly. One company at a time. But some other things to help share our value to this industry. Nick Taylor started the Seat at the Table Diversity and Inclusion panel last year. So him and I will be doing that again Wednesday. We're expanding the series after we got feedback. People wanted to dive in more instead of just having a conversation, but really look at solutions. And with that feedback, IAAPA and the HR committee actually expanded the chat even further beyond our series. So on that same day after we speak from 10 to 11:30, that same day we have subject matter experts or those who have lived experiences offering advice and solutions for you and your organization. And that's the IDEA Roundtable. And that will be happening at 4 p.m. same day on Wednesday the 16th, so that we can offer more individual partnership and support for you and or your organization. So that's the first time we're doing that this year. And so we're really looking forward to that and appreciate everybody's support at IAAPA and the HR committee, who has been doing such an amazing job spearing all these edu sessions together.
Yeah, I'm excited. The last one was really great. I'm excited. I'll be there for both. So if anybody wants to see me.
Yeah, Wednesday's your day at IAAPA, right?
Yeah, Wednesday I will be there to see all the great things. And I think last time, wasn't it really early in the morning on Monday or Tuesday? Is this an upgrade in the time slot? It seems like we are kind of prime time.
Yeah, so very excited. We do have some of our friends at Bezark. They got our 8:30 Monday slot. So I'll still be getting up early supporting them. But yeah, so we got moved to a more primetime spot so that this is a conversation that's really happening right now in the United States with a huge focus. But I know when Asia had their summit, one of the things that they talk about is inclusion and harmony. So even though regionally we may be having different conversations, it all comes together with making sure everyone is included and has a voice and a safe space to be.
Well, that's great. And just before we move on to our last little send off, just like to thank IAAPA for all the partnership they have with Big Break Foundation throughout the year. I know you touched on it, but there's a lot of collaboration that's happening behind the scenes all year long. Monet's kind of embedded on several different areas within, and we really appreciate that collaboration, which is so important to make a better industry, in my point of view. So appreciate that. Andy, how about that last question? You want to toss it out to the group? You're muted. Shoot.
I'm muted. Sorry.
It couldn't be a live stream without the mute button being.
Of course. The last question being the advice.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a good overall advice for first time attendees, or even if this is your first or 10th or 20th IAAPA, is to kind of go in with a plan and goals in mind, to booths you want to hit, people you want to talk to, and definitely if you want to talk to some of the important people like Mel and Monet, definitely hit them up and try to schedule a meeting or an appointment. That's really important. especially, like I said, with, the higher profile people, if you want to talk to them. And like I said, just general networking advice that we always give here, is that networking is a delicate business where have to be friendly, and you try to make friends and not just connections. People aren't just a means to an end. I think that you're going to get the greatest return on your investment of time and energy going to someplace like IAAPA is to be open and honest and friendly, and just go with the flow, and somebody suggests you go talk to so and so, or brings you over and introduces you to somebody, or says, hey, come to our happy hour, come to our party, find a way to get there, put it in your calendar, and just make the most of it. It's a good time.
Great. Mel, or actually, yeah, we'll go to Mel. I just said Mel, so why not? What are the top three pieces of advice on how to make the most of IAAPA?
Well, I think of mind, body, spiritual care, self-care. For me, I'm an introvert, and just thinking about pacing myself, taking advantage of the opportunity of the people in the crowd, in the room. I think I really appreciate your point, Andy. I mean, I'm not a big fan of just quote networking, but the idea of, hey, be open to actually establishing friendships and relationships, because that really is so foundational to how this industry actually works when it works at its best effectively. And it's actually can mean a lot to your career, but really just, again, for your own personal development. But, along those lines, I see a lot of people that tend to just cluster and huddle, like whether they have their group or their friends, and rather than just kind of get out there and break away from that core center of gravity. In terms of,
I'm going to jump back in. I thought of a couple more things, because I didn't really say three things. I just said like one main thing about networking. But like number one, the other thing that I want to suggest is, if you do drink, know your limits. And I know that it sounds rich coming from me, right? But it's I always try to monitor myself and try not to drink too much and embarrass yourself. And then also, one of my favorite things to do on the show floor is when I'm talking to somebody and I see somebody across the aisle or something like that they should meet. I love bringing people over and introducing people. And I do that whenever possible.
Yeah, it's those extra acts of really generosity that definitely comes back and pays back. I was going to say, kind of along those lines of just personal care. I can't tell you how many times the top advice has been, good choice in footwear. I know it is the top advice as a new exhibitor that we always get is have adequate carpet padding. But man, not footwear, but actually health. I actually have caught in a cold, gotten sick, caught in a flu. And I mean, they're long nights, long days. The family, the wife and kids at home, they have a hard time believing, that it actually can be pretty hard work. But yeah, just again, thinking about personal, just margins and just take care of yourself. And then the one key thing, I think it would be pretty lame if you were able to go through the whole week and not have like just a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, if you can't go to the fun expo and manage to carve some fun in, and part of that is actually taking time out too. So I mean, when in Orlando, if you're not from Central Florida, quote benchmarking, research and development, whatever, just getting time again with friends, which I think takes some of the pressure off of needing to get something specific, strategic out of it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, there's giant flat rides and ropes courses inside on the show floor. For crying out loud. Say hi to the folks at Zamprilla.
Yeah. Well, Monet, over to you.
Well, I ditto and echo everything Andy and Mel said. Self-care is definitely very important, pacing yourself, but be prepared, whatever that may be. If it's your first time attending, look at IAAPA's website, go to Themed Entertainment Jobs. They have a resource. Attractions Pro has a one-sheeter. Research a little bit more. I would say outline your top 5 things or goals that you want to do. see or people you want to meet. And then along those lines, if you are a first time attendee and you don't know how to navigate, ask for help. You come to Big Break booth. We're a safe space to come to and talk to. We'll have great volunteers there who can help guide you in a direction or partner you up with somebody. But this is a pretty sociable community and tight-knit community. And I would be surprised if anybody would refuse to help you. So ask for help. There are people around, like I said, Big Break Foundation. Our booth is a safe space to come to. And last but not least, follow up after Expo. I cannot stress that enough. There have been people that haven't talked to me in over a year. And now they're talking, knowing that we're going to be meeting up at IAAPA next week. So just make sure that, once again, yes, Monet says follow up. Make sure, once again, it's more about building those connections. That has been the most beneficial to my career, is the people that I've known in addition to my skills, and the opportunities that have presented themselves organically. And if you have the means to be able to take up those opportunities, go for them. Say yes, get involved. So make sure you do those things.
Yeah, definitely follow up is really important for sure.
Yeah. So I'd say to, for my top 3 advice, and I don't know if I'll actually give 3, we'll see. Maybe I'll give 8. A lot. Is really, so you may have an agenda, and this is probably more towards young professionals or people entering who are trying to network and get going on all that. So you have an agenda, but then a lot of these executives and people in companies also have agendas. And during the day, it's primarily they're trying to make business deals happen. This is a business conference. While it's a lot of fun, there are millions of dollars worth of deals being done every day at IAAPA. And I'm not even exaggerating on that, right? There's a lot of business that's happening. So if you go to a booth and you're trying to meet people and they give you kind of the brush off, don't take it personally. Don't let it, stab you through the heart. Just realize that everyone is there doing something. But if you were to walk up to Storyland Studios booth and say, hey, I'd like to just chat with somebody from the creative team here if they happen to be here. And you give them your card and say, hey, I'm a student. I know you're busy. I'd love to just chat with you down the line, or maybe later this week you have some time and you can actually schedule coffee or a Zoom call. That's the best mode of attraction in my book. As you go into the nighttime, it's it's a social atmosphere where the deals that are being done are kind of solidified and the partnerships are being ratified of all the people who've worked with each other for decades. You just come across all these people who haven't seen each other in a long time, and it can be really tricky to try to interject. And it's not really the best time to try to do that. There's been a couple of moments here where people have said things like, don't get in your cluster. And I totally agree with that. Expand your cluster out. And if you see somebody who's, you have a friend and they know somebody else, use that network to connect with other people. And it's just a light introduction. Hey, don't talk business. Just say, hey, what's up? Join the conversation. Most people are gabbing about theme parks and other random stuff anyway that you should all feel confident in chatting about. But nobody wants to see the person that's just kind of awkwardly standing there and not really interjecting. And it's like there's 2 people who haven't seen each other in 5 years and they're having like a heart-to-heart. So you want to read the room and read what's happening in the conversations, and so that you're not interrupting something that's happening. So that's I think it's an important for anybody trying to network is just read the room as much as possible. Power in numbers. If you already have people that are going there, and just understanding that that flow of the business during the day that kind of turns over into more of a social atmosphere at night. And that's gonna be my recommendations.
Yeah, Patrick, one of my favorite things to do at the after hours parties is if I see somebody I don't know standing by themselves, I will 9 out of 10 times walk up to them and introduce myself, because you're gonna hear an interesting story because you've never met this person. They're in your industry, and you've just made a new friend.
Yeah.
And my favorite dad joke to open with that is like, especially at a party where it's a host bar, is about, hey, can I buy you a free drink?
That's good. Well, what last bit of information do we have? I think Trevor, you said there were some important details. They're going to scroll. What do we have? Or is my frozen? Okay. So some important details: Slides Creative Network Mixer, 5 p.m. on Monday night. You can sign up on Facebook or Eventbrite. Great. That's important. Then we move on to Tuesday night, which is our TETV mixer at Howl at the Moon. No host. Come on down, hang out. We'll be there all night at 6:30. Come before, after, during other parties. It's for everybody's welcome. It is 21 and up. TEA members meeting 8:30 to 10. See how that goes down. They review kind of highlights throughout the year of what happened, and then there will be a gavel tossed off from Chuck Fawcett to Melissa Rimino. So that's exciting. A new president coming in officially the November 17th. And then, of course, Storyland Studios. Check out their booth. We'll see what it looks like. 1881. That's actually nice. That's easy to remember, that one. 1881. That was the year Storyland was established. No, Big Break. Big number 1190.
2 years before the Yellowstone Ranch.
Yeah. Monet, is that near? Is that adjacent to any of the other like TEA booth this year, or is it just in its own island? Not to be on the spot there, but because I know last year they were kind of adjacent, like two rows down or something.
I feel like we are right at the entryway of the North Concourse. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I think we're not as close to TA booth, still in that area, but we are closer to the entry exit points. So hopefully you'll see us. If not, look us up, booth 1190.
Great. And then moving on, come see Monet in real life, curating, seeing some of the hard work done all year. I know these panels take a lot of work, and IAAPA vets every single one of them, which is exciting. A seat at the table, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I'll be there. Come sit. I'm the tall guy. I'll probably wear this hat. We'll see. Unless Mel gets me a hat that says Storyland in time. I'll be there to support Monet and the great people doing that. And then, of course, later on, Idea Roundtable, continuing the discussion. It's getting dark in here, so I'm starting to fade away. 4 to 5:30, the 16th in that room. That is, I'm not going to read it out. So that's exciting. And then, of course, follow socials. Let's see. We have Facebook at Themed Experience, or Themed EXP TV. Instagram, same handle. Perfect. Twitter. Yeah, we're on Twitter as well. It's great. You can retweet us. We're live on Twitter too. And then also make sure you follow Storyland Studios on their social channels, on LinkedIn, anywhere Storyland is sold. And then, of course, same with Big Break Foundation. Please support our partners. We really appreciate your time. Oh, thanks, Chuck Fawcett. Congratulations on the top 10 power couple. And then, yeah, and then we got a Howl at the Moon is a good, guaranteed good time. Good to hear. Well, Mel and Monet, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate all this guidance, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Andy, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you at IAAPA.
See you at IAAPA. Take care, everyone. Safe travels.